Hello and welcome to the finale of 1984 Rewrite the Stars. I am here with the final two. We have Caleb and Jay. They both originally played season two, and they are now here in the finals of our Second Chances season. So the two of them will be facing the jury tonight to see which one of them will rise on top and become the winner of 1984 Rewrite the Stars. So earlier tonight, Caleb won part 3 of the final head of household. He evicted Justin, but with that, he got the choice of who would go first and second in our speeches. Caleb has chosen to go second in the opening speeches, which means Jay will go first, and the order will be reversed when it comes to closing statements. Each of them will have 7 minutes for their opening. Each juror will get 7 minutes, and then they will have 2 minutes for their closing speeches. After that, all the jurors will join us on here, and we will do the voting process, and then we will crown a winner, and then we'll have a little reunion. So Jay, you're good. You may begin your opening statement. I will start the timer when you start.
Hello, Jerry. I would just first off like to say thank you to both Jerry, Caleb, Michael, everybody. This has been such a great season, regardless of what happens. To me, this has definitely topped my not group games, my org experiences. I came into this season from season 2 with a lot of regrets. I definitely don't think I played the best in season 2. And I have spent years thinking of things I would have done differently. This time I came into the game and I completely changed everything. I realized in season 2, just because you can win a comp doesn't mean you should win a comp. So early on, I wanted to avoid comps that would make me show where my cards truly lied. And I kind of I floated for a little bit of this game. I will admit that. I think around the jury phase is when I began being a bit more aggressive. At no point of this game do I feel like I ever said I'm just voting with the house without then campaigning for one of the people to go. I feel like I played very proactive. I never just was given orders and took them. One of the big moves I feel like that comes to my mind straight off the bat was the move that I feel like solidified my spot in this seat was whenever Connor and Chloe were both on the block. And I definitely knew Connor staying would be better for my personal game. And whenever I talked to Madison the night before she won HOH, we were talking and she was telling me she would probably nominate those two. And I was like, well, if you nominate those two, I want to target Chloe. Would you be cool with that? And she was like, yeah, I don't really mind. Well, then the day comes and both of us were kind of just talking, and Josh and Justin had already told us we're voting to evict Connor. Me and Caleb already had our alliance, and we were like, we're doing Chloe. And then, Madison was like, period, let's just do Chloe. So I was like, great. Another thing I really wanted to change with my game was in season 2, when I look at my alliances, Jabbar, period. There was no wide scale. This season, I had a final 2 with Connor whenever he came back from his game. I had the Stratisfaction guaranteed with Caleb. I had the 4-person group with me, Rachel, Caleb, and Justin, which then turned into the 3-person group. I had the 3-man band group with Nolan and Seb, also another wrestling reference. And I also had a final 3-person group called the Discriminators with Connor and Chloe. And the one thing I'm so happy about this season is I didn't just stick with one person and say my entire game revolves around us getting to the end. Because in season 2, I look back at it and say that was my downfall, is I was trying to get 2 people to the end when I should have secured my spot to the end first and then tried to get someone else with me. I think that I played a good physical game whenever it came down to it, and I saw the comps that I needed to win. For my safety, I would like turn up and try to win them. Of course, there were times where I couldn't because, like, I'm still not the best at mental comps, period. Never will be. But I fought my ass off in this game, and I am so, so glad that I have managed to make it this far. One other thing that I told myself I was going to do in this season, which kind of ties into something else, was I wanted to play completely different than any other org game I played. This season, I don't really feel like what I normally do is I find a shield and I just kind of stay behind them. I don't feel like I did that this season. I feel like I kind of took my own fate and I worked my ass off to get what I wanted and how I wanted it done. And I went out there and did it. I don't really feel like I hid behind a shield when somebody came to me for a vote and that was really all they had for me. I mean, I need more. This was not the game for me to look for shields and to just hide behind them. I wanted to be an independent player who would be able to postseason say that I managed to have my own back after playing a season like season 2, where I felt like the entire time it was me and someone else. So I am so glad that I can look back at this season and know that I fought my ass off to get myself here. I didn't just hide behind someone else who could be considered a stronger player. And I feel like I kind of showed that season 2 made the right decision in getting rid of me over Jabbar. I also managed to get here with only being nominated at the final 6, and I have never had a vote casted against me this season. So I think that I have a very good game this season, and I hope that you guys can respect it as a winner's game. Oh, I'm done.
Okay. So Caleb, it is now your turn. As you noticed with Jay, I will put a 1-minute thing in the chat. I'll do that for all the jurors as well. Caleb, your time will start when you start talking.
Okay. So first off, Jay, I love you so much. I'm so glad you're in the final 2. If I lose or win against you, love regardless. Michael, thank you so much for hosting this game. Jury, I love you all so much, and I'm ready to explain my game. So early on, coming into this game, that I was the highest placer in this cast, the highest person on the rankings, probably the least connected person socially in this cast. So to like dislocate that, I played dumb. I convinced every single person in this house that I was this dumb, ditzy, fun guy, tee-hee to worlds. And at the end of the day, I would also use my slut strategy is what I call it. I literally made a private story just for this game to convince like people that I was more worried about people's sex lives, people's what they have under their junk there. And I use that as a distraction to actually hide how smart of a strategic player I was and how good socially I was. From day 1 to day 22, I was never a target. Everyone ever came after me. Everyone just kind of like looked at me and said, oh, Caleb's just doing his own thing. He's not a threat. Like, what is he doing? Ha twirls. When I got nominated to double eviction, I got called out by Peyton as the most emotional player in this cast. So what I did is I turned that against them and said, I become every single person on this jury is untouchable. Every single person in this game came to me and said, Caleb, I need your vote. You're the person I trust the most. Without this, I can't make this move. Nolan, when you won HOH at the final 11, you said, Caleb, and only way to get rid of Rachel is if I have your vote. So this is what I call my personal strategy of 1984's personal cheerleader. I sat on the sidelines and let big guys go after each other while I got to sit there and look pretty and play on a thing. Rachel went home because she was out there. Rachel even said if I just cried to Caleb, I would get his vote. So by voting her out, I showed her that I'm not an emotional player, that I'm a strategic player, because honestly, I was closer to Rachel than I was with Justin, but yet I evicted Rachel in that situation. At the final 10, when Madison came and won HOH, she said, Caleb, bestie, I just want to make sure this is the vote. Like, I want to make sure you're good. Like, I mean, I need your vote. And boom, 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 Seb was out the door. Chloe, when Chloe came HOH, Chloe came to me and said, Caleb, I know you're not going to like this. I know you're not going to like me taking out Billy, but I said, listen, if I get rid of Billy, that threat level of me goes away. So strategically, I voted out Billy, even though he was my closest ally in this game. I showed everyone that I was able to make the moves when I had to. At the final 8, Justin said, Caleb, Nolan's got to go. And I said, yes, Nolan's got to go. Like, Nolan's a threat to my game. He's got to go. At the final 7, same thing that Jay mentioned earlier with a big move, was that, like, I knew that Connor was always going to be a person targeted before me. And I knew Chloe was always going to be a person that someone wanted to keep around. So I made sure that I kept Connor in the game and convinced Madison, said, Madison, listen here, that like Chloe's got to go for your game. I've always made sure that people think that it was for their game only. At the final 6, when Josh went HOH, even though I was nominated, I was never a target. I won the veto, saved myself. At the final 5, when Jay went HOH, I was never a target, won the veto and saved myself. At the final 4, every single person wanted to take me to the final 3. No, I was not going home in any situation. So even though I didn't win the veto, I never had to win the veto. At the final 3, both Justin and Jay wanted to take me to the final 2 because they both thought they could beat me. This whole entire game, I have been underestimated. People have looked at me and kind of looked away and said, Caleb can't do this. Caleb can't fight. Caleb is not going to win. But I proved everyone wrong. I fought. I showed that I was a strong strategic player. Honestly, I feel like I played an impeccable social game because every single person has trusted me, and I have not been a target once in this game. I won competitions when I needed to. I threw every single competition until the final 6 because I never had to win a competition, because I was always in good graces with every single person in this house. I perfected the floater strategy. I hid behind people when I had to hide behind people, and I came out on top when I had to come out on top. I showed that, like, if I could play dumb early on, that people would trust me, people would come to me, because every single person, like I said, thought I was their untouchable. No one ever said, oh, Caleb's got to go. Like, we need Caleb here because I trust Caleb. Jay, you trusted me. Nolan trusted me. Justin trusted me. At the final 6, Justin should have went after me and Jay, but I convinced him not to because I knew that I could talk to him, and then all his allies went out back to back to back. Like I said, I've never been a target this entire season. I've only seen the eviction block for less than 15 seconds, or not 15 seconds, 15 minutes, because I was nominated in the double eviction and at the final 4. I've always been able to either campaign my way to be safe by the HOH or win the veto when I had to win it. I think I've been the least targeted. I've casted 14 out of the 16 votes of the season from day 1 to 47 in this house. And I genuinely believe that I have fought every single day in this house, blood, tears, and I've been so calculated. I know I'm running around my head here, but this game means so much to me. I didn't think I had a shot early on, but I fought every single day in this house to make sure I was safe on calls with people until 4 or 5 a.m. Billy and Nolan, you know that, to make sure that I was safe that eviction vote. I was have celebration calls with every single person in the cast because I knew that I could somehow convince them to keep me safe. But yes, I feel like I fought every single day in this house. I feel like I played a very balanced social, strategic, and physical game. And like I said, I rewrote the stars with Jay. Me and Jay did not work together our first season, but I was able to look past that. Connor, when Connor nominated me, I said, Connor, I need you in this game. I don't care that you nominated me. I was always able to adapt and transition to get myself to the final 2. Even Nolan, and when Nolan evicted me, I said, Nolan, I need you this game. You're the person that I need to get myself to get farther in the game. So yes, I did hide behind people when I had to, but I came out on top at the end of the game and won myself here and earned my spot in the final 2. I took myself here when no one else could. Everyone underestimated. Everyone looked at me and said, Caleb's not going to win this. Caleb has no shot in this game. And I was the person voted most likely to get second place because everyone did not think I had a shot. I fought, like I said, every single day, and I want this win so bad. I've literally been thinking about it constantly every single day for these past 47 days. And I feel like I rewrote my stars. When Burks took me out in the final 4, I was probably going to win the season. And I came back and I said, I'm going to win this season. This is my season to win. And I'm going to win 1984 season 9, rewrite the stars.
Thank you, Caleb. I am going to let in our first
Lucky
juror.
That was a lot.
Hello, Rachel. So each juror will get 7 minutes. Rachel, your 7 minutes will start when you start talking.
Sorry, my stream was ever so slightly behind, so I really wanted to hear Caleb finish speaking before I came up. I'm gonna be honest. My vote was 100% locked when I came here. And somehow y'all managed to ruin that. Caleb, I made it very clear to you on our call. I said that I could have like manipulated you in some way or cried or whatever to do what I had to do to get your vote. And I specifically told you that I did not want to do that and that I wanted to present to you why I thought it made sense for me to stay on a strategic level for your game. So for you to use that in your opening speech really, really frustrates me that you would try to like frame that in that way. Because I said that I could have done that with the way that you had played the game and that I was choosing not to. So please don't try to say that about me because that is not what happened. Okay. That being said,
I apologize. I'm sorry. Yeah.
I don't really even know what to ask. I didn't plan for this. I forgot this was happening until the stream link got sent. So I guess I'll do like the basic questions because apparently I have no idea what was going on and I've been a clown this entire time. Actually, no. First question, I will ask Jay, who, if you had to rank the people in this game on like at jury or whatever, like who were your priorities in this game? Because you're naming all these chats, you're naming all these things. I understand like you have to have multiple groups, whatever. It's like, I understand, but like the way that like you talked to me and then the way that you treated me the day I went home did not line up and lost a lot of my respect. And on a personal level, like I adore you, like we'll be fine after this game, but on a game level, like you know me and like that just really was not okay. And so like I'm going to give you the chance to explain like who your priorities were at that time or like what your goal was in the way that like that was handled. Yeah. Because that was not it.
Yeah, well, my top priority was always Connor. Connor was always my closest ally. Everybody knows that I consider Connor like a brother. So Connor was always number one. Caleb was number two. I will admit that. With everyone else kind of was just kind of like it depended on the time. The reason why I kind of got short with you, I will admit, is because I felt like we were talking in circles. Anytime I would bring up why I wanted to evict you, you would like say like, oh, well, this, and this. And I'm like, I get that, but I need to do what I think is best for my game.
My issue wasn't the way that we talked during that call. My issue was you saying that you wanted to hear out both noms and then telling me 5 minutes before eviction that I was going. Like that was where my issue lied when like I had been told the night before that you wanted to keep me, that you told me that you would call me the next day and none of that happened. And then all of a sudden like you flipped and sent me home. So like
I will admit, like I did flat out lie to you that I was going to keep you. As people will say, I campaigned against you. Caleb at one point was going to keep you. He told me that. And I had to tell him, no, she did this with Grace, where Grace literally told me she wanted to target Rachel. And then the next day I go on call with Grace. Grace says she doesn't want to. I talked to Connor, who the night before was saying, I want to target Rachel. No, I don't want to target Rachel. And I had to tell him, Caleb doesn't want to target Rachel. So if Caleb doesn't want to target Rachel, who do you think Caleb's going to target, Connor, after you just nominated him? So I will admit, I at no point was going to keep you. That was just more of a, I don't really want to deal with you blowing up my game on a game level at that point.
So then why did you tell people that were not me that you were keeping me? Like people that were already like planning on evicting me, like you told them that you wanted me to stay.
I never told anyone that, as far as I know. I cannot think of one time where I told somebody I wanted to keep you to stay. Like I said, I campaigned for you to go.
And I believe that day, but like the night before, like I was told that like you had told multiple people that you wanted me to stay. All that aside, I'm open to listening to speeches now just after opening things were handled, but like that's kind of where I'm leaning right now. Like that really frustrated me. I guess, how much time do I have, Michael?
2 minutes.
Cool. Close your eyes.
Okay.
if you think you have this juror's vote, raise your hand. We are testing self-awareness here. Like, be confident. So if you think you have my vote, raise your hand. If you think you have, I don't know the order, Seb's vote, raise your hand. If you think you have Nolan's vote, raise your hand. If you think you have Billy's vote, raise your hand. If you think you have Connor's vote, raise your hand. If you think you have Chloe's vote, raise your hand. If you think you have Josh's vote, raise your hand. Interesting. If you think you have Madison's vote, raise your hand. If you think you have Justin's vote, raise your hand. Did I forget anyone? Probably. Whatever.
Don't
Good.
think so.
Second question, if you think you outplayed this person, you will raise your hand. So if you think you outplayed me, raise your hand. If you think you outplayed Billy, raise your hand. If you think you outplayed Seb, raise your hand. Nolan, Chloe, Connor, Madison, Josh, Justin. Interesting. Okay, y'all can open your eyes.
About 10 seconds.
You both kept your hands raised for every single person in the outplayed category. On an awareness level, I don't think the jury is happy with that, and you're gonna have to explain that in people after me because I have no time. But I love you both as people. I don't love you both as game players at all right now. I really did not love opening speech from Caleb, and I really did not love a lot of things that you did, Jay. So like, my vote is up in the air, but not for good reasons. Love y'all. Bye.
Thank you, Rachel. I'm going to admit juror number 2. Hello, Sebastian. Your time, your 7 minutes will start when you start talking. I'll give you a 1-minute warning in the chat.
Okay, 1 second. Before we start, first of all, congratulations to you two. I have to play something real quick because I saw you played it at the end of last one. Okay, the fun time's over because I'm sick of both of you. I'm going to be quite honest. I think both of you have pissed me the fuck off in this game. Jay, you said something in the beginning where you said that you've never fully said, I never voted with the house, or I never just voted because it was with the house. But I strongly remember during my eviction, you not really talking to me until 15 minutes prior, and all you really had to say was oh, it seems like that's where everyone's going, and sorry I couldn't campaign for you longer. So I want you to explain that to me real quick.
Yeah, when I was saying that, I meant more when I was campaigning for votes for one of the nominees. I definitely did tell nominees if I didn't want my game to be blown up with all the alliances I was in, I couldn't say, hey, yeah, I know we're in 2 alliances together, but I'm voting you out. So yeah, I definitely told nominees, this is where the vote's going. Sorry. I was saying more towards the voters. I would say, this is who I want out, here's why. Or I'm just gonna go with the house, but here's why I think we should go with the house. So I was saying that I never said, I just wanna go with where the house goes, period.
Okay. Caleb, I am currently in school right now, getting a theater degree. Your acting is shit, I'm gonna be honest. Everyone, except for the private snap story, which I was just whatever, okay, Caleb likes to show himself in his underwear. That wasn't, yeah. I think everyone in the jury knew that you were playing dumb, but the problem is that it didn't become playing dumb. I'm going to tell you straight up, a lot of the jury is pissed at you because of your opening speech. just because of your opening speech. I think you had a lot more votes coming into this, and then you, not to be rude, but you opened your mouth. And I, especially like Rachel mentioned before, she was locked and then you spoke. So I don't think that you are on their best terms.
Can I explain myself with her?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. I gave
Ask a
Jay the
question.
opportunity, so I'm gonna let you speak.
Okay, what do you have a question or anything, or just reaffirm with that?
Explain, fully explain your whole dumb persona, because a lot of people saw right through it, even before pre-jury. Like, I know you mentioned what happened with Peyton, but I know a lot of people like were just like, oh, like if Caleb's gonna play dumb and continue to throw competitions, like how is that gonna benefit me? Like, I want you to like explain why your dumb persona got you further in the game.
That really what it comes down to is that by playing dumb, I was able to get people's trust. Now I will apologize with my opening speech. I probably did not word the way I should have worded it. And the way with the way Rachel is correct. I definitely miscalculated the way I said that for sure. It didn't come off the right way. But the way I used my dumb persona to get to this point was because I was pretty much already outcasted in the season, because most people had friends coming into this game. Like a lot of people had connections. And like you said, I think people eventually started catching on, definitely towards the middle, early stages of jury, maybe even late pre-jury. So I use that to just make myself look less threatening. And I do think people did start catching on that I was a lot smarter than I gave off. I mean, I think that I remember Madison telling me, she was like, Caleb, I think, she said that Mealy does like think you're a lot smarter than you portray yourself to be. But basically, I just did that to try to lessen the like threat level that I was a higher placer this season. And that if I would have played hard early on, people like Sam and Brandon and Grace and Jonah were players that maybe weren't as connected as well. So I did that just to lessen my threat, because if I would have played super hard early on, I do think people would have took me out pre-jury, because just for the sole fact that I didn't have the friendships and connections. I only knew about 4 people coming into this game. But I utilized my social abilities and played a very strong one-on-one game with people. I was in alliances as well, but I did that just to give my public persona to less of a threat, but still have the personal connections behind the scenes to get myself farther in the season. And like I said, I do apologize if it came off cocky in my opening speech, because I maybe got excited more than anything. I was really, I've been like thinking about this every day in my head, and I think I just was overconfident and cocky with my speech. But if people want to ask me more questions about that, I'm going to try to give the most genuine answer I can give.
Okay, I can respect that. So I'm just going to talk for a few minutes because I'm sick of you two. Jay, I am really glad we were able to talk in this game. BB Disney, we didn't talk at all. And one of the goals I made in this game was to just talk to you more. I really did appreciate working with you in any sort of area. And honestly, like, I did consider you one of my closer allies in the game. I applaud you for owning up a lot of your shit, admitting that you floated through the first part of the game. It's something that, could, deflect votes, but you owned up to it, and it's something I could appreciate. You owning up that you were floating throughout this game, I can appreciate. Or you owning up that you were with multiple people at multiple times, I can appreciate that. Caleb, for we talked about it, you getting an invite for Hall of Fame and you having to decline it, and I think this game proved why you got that invite, because you played hard, you got here. I don't know your game. And that's not a question I'm going to ask because I only have a minute. But everything you spoke to me in this game was personal. Okay, King, we should win the next HOH together. Like, keep each other in shape. And after a while, like, it's all about comparing notes. And like when I hear it from Rachel, Madison, Josh, Nolan, Chloe, Connor, you're saying the same shit to everyone. Like, I can't ask that question because it's saying to wrap it up. But I want you to just explain it, Okay. Good luck to the both of you. I'm going to be honest. I'm leaning one certain way. But I do love you both on a personal level. Michael's telling me to wrap it up. Drink some water, take a breather. It's the final two. I know it's important, but don't let it like stress you until you're dead. Like I always say, orgs mean nothing if you're not alive to play them. So I love you both. Thank you, Michael. I'm gonna head off. Right, just head off the Zoom.
Yep. You'll join
Perfect.
later when it's time to vote. Thank you,
Okay,
Sebastian.
peace out, y'all.
Okay. I will add in
I'm, like,
our next juror. Hello, Billy.
Hello.
Your 7 minutes will start when you start talking. I will give you a 1 minute warning in the chat.
Okay. Well, hi. Congratulations, first of all. It's great to see you guys again. I think this game actually kind of like went by pretty quick and dirty. So I had a hard time like keeping up. So I'm gonna kind of I like you guys' opening speeches. I feel like you kind of like laid things out. You talked about like where things were. I felt like I got a better idea of like who you guys were working with and stuff like that. I guess like for my question, because I am kind of narcissistic, I want you both kind of like to explain quickly like what went through your head like at like final 9, like the round where I was voted out, because like to my understanding I had Connor's vote, I had Nolan's vote, and then I had Caleb's vote, and then there was just pushing for the 4th vote to get over. And Jay, you told me like you 100% wanted me to stay. So when I like left like an hour before eviction, I was like, I'm probably gonna stay, and then everyone was like, yeah, you're probably going. So I heard you guys had like a chat with like Justin and stuff like that. So I kind of want you guys to like talk about like what you really felt like went on that week. And I think like I got a pretty good idea of like what you guys had going on for like pre-jury and like stuff like that. I was there to see it, but I would ask like after that as well, like just especially like kind of like was overwhelming like what happened after I left and stuff like that, because I wasn't there to see it. And just like kind of like catch me up on like what you think was the most important pieces of your game for the that I should know before I go to vote. Because
who do you want to go first?
We'll start with Caleb.
Okay. We'll start off with your vote. So Billy, you know that a lot of people grouped me, you, and Connor in specifically. So what it came down to was I noticed the pairings and duos were getting broken up. You saw Rachel and Justin get took out the 2 weeks prior. Seb and Nolan were a duo. Seb got sent out the next door. So during that vote, I wanted to lessen my threat level by letting you go, because at that point, if I stayed on your ship and I would have rowed the Titanic, I would have been hitting the iceberg. And I think that it made more strategic sense to let you go, as much as I loved you on a personal level. And me and Josh didn't have a strategic relationship at all that game. You were actually my most strategic ally this season. And I think you got to saw a lot of sides of me that most people didn't get to see. But I would like to reaffirm like what I did post your eviction, because I need to explain it better than I did in my opening speech. So this leaves us at the final 8. There was a trio made of Nolan, me, and Connor. Then there was also the one of me, Jay, and Justin. I was able to ride the middle. I made safety deals with both chats saying, guys, we got to keep each other safe. We got to go after this group, go after the Jays and Josh and Madison's, or go after the Connors and Nolans. I was able to kind of let that ride in the middle there. Like I said, I own up the fact I was the biggest floater in this cast, 100%. I floated in between every alliance. And like I said, and Seb was right when I mentioned to him that like me and him didn't have a strategic relationship. But weeks prior, I think that we just didn't connect maybe as close on a game level. So I kind of kept him to the side a little bit more, which maybe is bad on my end, but I knew he was an easy vote for me. But onwards, though, to the final 7, I had pretty much an alliance with every single person except Josh. I had a final 2 deal with Madison, a final 2 deal with Justin, a final 2 deal with Jay, a final 2 deal with Connor. And everyone viewed me as someone that would be an easy beat at the end, which from an outwardly perspective, I think that was true. But I proved at the end why I am a deserving player and why I deserved a second chance in an all-star position. But yeah, thank you.
My reason with voting you out was because I had noticed just on my separate calls with both Caleb and Connor, they both said that you were somebody they didn't want to go after pre-jury. And so that immediately put red flags in my mind. I did go out of my way to like kind of get in your good graces. I was already kind of in your good graces starting off because you know I love working with you and I just adore talking to you on a personal level. But just in case you won power, I wanted to make sure like I was safe. And I am a firm believer that the ally of my ally isn't always my ally. So I saw you more as competition for the people that I wanted to go farther along with in this game. So whenever there was the opportunity that you were on the block, I just couldn't really resist the temptation of taking the shot. As for what I did, like moving forward in the game, I really started having to look down at all of the people in the game because, kind of like Caleb, I was in alliances with most people. So I had to start thinking of not just what each vote would do the next round, but like who's going to be impacted. Because now it's not just this person leaving, but who is staying in the game and how are they going to feel about me moving forward. So I had to kind of navigate that like multiple levels of relationships with not just the person evicted, but how is the rest of the house going to feel about this person? Am I going to be able to salvage this relationship? Moving on, like I definitely feel like I had to fight a bit more to stay. I will admit that because of Josh. At a certain point, he promised me safety, and then he went back on it and nominated me the first time I was nominated at Final Six, and I totally get why he did that. That was great on a game. So I have no like ill will towards him on the game level. But it kind of awoken something in me with the competitions. I really started like gunning more for them. It kind of lit a fire underneath me that I don't think was there previously. So I was able to win the comps that I needed to win to take out Josh, to take out Madison, to take out these people that I thought like I have no shot at winning against these people if I'm in the end with them. And yes, other people can say, oh, we'll do it when they're on the block. But I wanted to be the one to like put the nail in the coffin for their games.
All right, perfect. That was like exactly the kind of thing like I was looking for. So thank you guys so much. I appreciate those answers so much. Good luck to both of you. Kind of like what Seb said, some people were kind of like rattled in the jury, like it seemed so far based on like the opening stuff. Sorry, please help me wrap it up. But like I am wrapping it up. But yeah, so just do your best. I think you guys both played great. I think you both would be awesome representation for the season, and I'm really glad that I got to play with both of you, and it was awesome fun. Thanks.
Thank you, Billy. Okay, I will admit the next juror. Hello, Nolan. So your 7 minutes will start when you start talking. I will give you a 1 minute warning in the chat.
Is my audio okay?
Yep, it's good.
Okay, sorry. I'm having to wear headphones now. It's a bit rough. Hello, everyone. I know you guys have been having a long night, and I'm on the jury number 4, so I guess it's going to get longer as we go along here. Although some people think I'm the biggest villain, I'm just going to try not to be too mean. That being said, I'm just going to get straight to it, I guess. I don't really come into these things with things prepared to say. I just speak my mind, and that's how it goes. Caleb, I mean, I made a joke in the jury roundtable that you should get the plug award for the season for all the safety deals you made in those HOH competitions. And that's going to lead to my first question is, like, what's your biggest move? Because a lot of the jurors feel that, like, you had a chance to win comps and you could have made, like, a significant, like, move because you can vote someone out. But, like, I feel like in Big Brother, almost just putting someone up, taking the shot is almost like you were a swing vote at certain times. But, like, what is your biggest move?
So definitely my biggest move this game. Most people are going to say taking out Justin because Justin had friends on the jury, but I don't think that was my biggest move this season. I think my biggest move was at the final 5. I solidified alliances with every single person, and I knew by Madison, in my opinion, was the best player this season. She won the most competitions. She was the one that made a lot of the physical moves in this game. And honestly, in a lot of ways, I wouldn't have been here without Madison winning all those competitions because I was someone that she trusted and everything. But voting her out and definitely solidifying my deals with Josh, Justin, and Jay it secured my fact that I was not touching the block or going home by any point, by at least final 3. And even at the final 2, because Justin and Jay were going to vote each other out. If I had to pick a second move, Jay mentioned it for himself, but I also do think the Connor and Chloe vote was very significant. A lot of people underestimated Chloe, I think. And Chloe had a lot of ties that people didn't realize she had. So by talking to both Jay and Madison, I was able to talk to Madison. We called that right after I got off work that night. And I said, Madison, Chloe's got to go, because I knew if Chloe went, it solidified my relationships closer, both with Justin and Josh, which is 2 people that I really needed to like solidify that they would go after people like Jay and Connor, because at that point I was sitting right in the middle. Because like I said, I didn't have to win the competitions because my social game kind of carried me a big portion of this game, because I was able, not only just strategically, but I think the biggest thing I relied on was my personality, and just being a genuine ear to listen to a lot of people. And I think that you, for example, know we had a lot of good personal relationships and even a close strategic relationship later on in the game. And I think by making the 2 moves of voting out Chloe and taking out Madison, I think that was the biggest reason I'm in the final 2 and not Josh and Justin, or Justin and Madison, or along the trio of that 3 probably.
So you said that Madison is probably the best player this season.
Mm-hmm.
Just taking a question from the jury chat. Why did you raise your hand?
I raised it and then I went down like that, and then I kind of went back up with it. I don't know if you guys noticed that.
Okay.
I think Madison played the best game up to her point in this game. I can't say that she played the best game overall of the entire season, because Jay and I are sitting in the final 2 and she's not. But I think up until the final 5, I think she played the best game, the most well-rounded game at least.
Okay. Caleb, I think the issue with you is everyone knows you put on this like dumb ditzy look, but people saw through it pretty easily. I'm not gonna lie, like we knew you were doing it, but you know, there were other targets at the time. And I applaud you for managing to get through that and laying low, but I think you played a very survivor game inside the Big Brother house. And I think at the end of the day that could cost you. I think the fact that like, you know, it's hard to tell with you. I think for a lot of people what was genuine, what was real, because the things you would say almost about like working to the end together and stuff, you would almost amplify it. And you would talk about emotions a lot and stuff and try to get people to know people on an emotional level. But once you did that, it was almost like, okay, I got to know you emotionally, but then like strategically, you'd still like cut. It's almost like, you know, it's almost like pissing on someone's leg and telling them it's raining, almost to a certain extent. And you know, I really worry about that for you coming into these next years. I don't know what they're gonna say.
Right.
But I don't know how much time I have. Jay, you know, I respect you, 3MB for life. I think we had a bunch of good 2 minutes, great. We had a bunch of good personal talks too. I think on paper, definitely you played probably the best game. I think not getting nominated until final 6 in an 18-person season with pre-game connections, don't at me, I said it, is very impressive. So for you though, I would like to ask, what was your biggest move too? Just because, you know, stay on pace here, and just keep in mind I have less than 90 seconds, so try to be quick.
Like I said, I think my biggest move truly was whenever Chloe went, I was like, wait, I think I made the final 2, because I had like, I was trying to think, I was like, who do I get nominated next to? Kind of like with Caleb. If I'm nominated next to Connor, I knew I stayed. I didn't think I would stay unanimously, but I thought I would stay. So I claimed that as my biggest move. Of course, I could say like Josh as well, but I just feel like Josh was the obvious move. So I wouldn't say that was my biggest move. So I would say my biggest move for me was the Chloe vote. And and kind of like what Caleb said, is the difference between what me and Caleb did is I talked to Madison before she won HOH. I talked to her the night before about, what if you won HOH, what would you do? And she was like, I would probably do Connor and Madison. Not Connor and Madison, Connor and Chloe. And I was like, would you be cool if we targeted Chloe? Because I think Chloe leaving is best for both of us. So I feel like Caleb benefited from the work that I had already put down with Madison at that point.
All right. Thank you. I don't know, but all right, I gotta wrap it up here. On a personal level, love you both. I'm just trying to vote for the person I feel like played the best game. Caleb, you need to step it up, or you're gonna be the third person in 1984 named Caleb to get second place, second in a row. And we really don't want that to happen. Well, I mean, I don't know, but whatever. Regardless, love you both. Good luck, and hasta luego.
Thank you, Nolan. Okay, Chloe is not able to make it tonight, but she did send me some questions. So I'm going to split the time in half for each of you. But her first question was, how are the vibes? So you guys can answer that really quick.
I'll go first. Apparently the vibes aren't there for me. Apparently I come off like ingenuine, but you know what? The vibes are great, Chloe. So we'll see.
I don't know if Jay wants to respond to that or not.
I mean, for me, just being at the final two, my vibe.
Yeah, it's awesome. Yeah.
I don't care if I'm getting June and Allison. Okay, I made it this far.
Wait, are the June and Allison?
If they hate me, I don't care. I'm just so glad I came back after season 2 to make it this far. So my vibes are fucking okay.
Okay. So now you're each going to get 3 minutes to answer each of these questions. I'm just going to split our time in half. So her questions are, what do you think the other person's best move is? And what do you think it's the other person's worst move? Caleb, you'll go first. I will give you a 30-second warning. And then I'm going to cut you off when your 3 minutes are done.
Okay.
You can start.
I think Jay's best move was taking out Josh. Because I do think there was no chance that Josh was going to take Jay to the final 3 in any circumstances, and I think Josh knows that. However, I would say the worst move in Jay's game was probably trusting me too much. But at the end of the day, we're in the final 2. Because I probably, if the circumstances would have been different in the final 3, if Jay, let's just say that Jay, well, I guess I would have, never mind. Justin would have never. No, because Justin made the final 3. Okay. I would say Jay's worst move then probably. Yeah. Okay. Probably I would say was maybe getting more upset when he got nominated because he almost went home because of that reason. At the final 6, had Justin not strong armed the vote. I mean, I was saving Jay regardless. Over Connor because I thought Connor was less beneficial for my game. But I would say he got maybe more upset than he should have got upset at the final 6. And had Madison convinced Justin to vote that way, Jay would be at 6th place right now. And I think that he relied on Justin's loyalty in that vote a lot, as well as my loyalty. But at the end of the day, like I said, I guess I was loyal because I did take Jay to the final 2. So yeah.
Okay. Jay, you'll get 3 minutes when you start talking. I'll give you a 30-second warning if we get to that point.
Okay. I do think Caleb's worst move, I'll start with worst, was getting rid of Billy because at that time, like, I had already known him and Billy were close because of, all the conversations I had with everybody in that perceived trio. I really thought, like, he doesn't really gain anything from Billy going this early, like, because I felt like if him and Billy were nominated, I felt like Billy would have been evicted over him. So I felt like he kind of took away a layer of protection by doing that. As for Caleb's like best move, I think he was able to be like, he was able to kind of emotionally connect to people on their way out in a way that I couldn't. I'm a very like blunt person. When people ask me like, how are you voting? And like a lot of times, like I said, I get off work at a very specific time. It's normally 1 of 2 times. And sometimes it fell like right before eviction. And I would have to be like, look, sorry, I'm voting to evict you. Can't really give you any details because I don't want you fucking me over in your exit speech. So sorry. But I think he did a really good job at people kind of feeling good on the way out about him.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm going to admit the next juror. Hello, Connor. I will start your time when you start speaking, though why don't we wait for Jay to come back in the frame. But your time will start, your 7 minutes will start when you start talking, and I will give you a 1 minute warning, but we'll wait for Jay.
Okay.
Out of fairness.
How
Connor,
are
how's
you?
your day going?
Oh, me?
Yeah, so Connor, how's your day going?
Oh yeah, chill.
Let's entertain
Yeah,
the audience for a second.
it's chill, man. It's chill. I'm, enjoying life. Went to the Mall of America today.
That's fun.
Are you enjoying your
food.
vacation in the jury house?
Oh, it's been lovely, Michael.
It sounds more fun than the final two house.
Oh, I would trade this in a heartbeat, man. Final two is final two.
It is. It's so
Okay.
good.
Sorry,
So
my mom came over.
you're fine. Okay. Connor, your 7 minutes will start when you start speaking. As I said, I'll give you a 1 minute warning in the chat.
Okay. So obviously it's pretty common knowledge, Jay, I love you. I'm still going to be as equally hard on you as I am going to be Caleb. My question tonight is the same for both of you. It's a tough question. I will say right now, the answer I'm looking for, I want it to be as eloquent and as top of your head as possible. The more you have to think about it, the more I question it.
Right.
And for that to be the fairest thing possible, one of you going first and the other one waiting allows them time to think on the question. I don't want that. Caleb, since you're wearing headphones, I would like you to take them out, walk to the other side of your room, and just turn your back so you can't read lips. And I will ask you the same question. Just so I'm waiting to see him in frame. Well, close enough, I guess. I can't see him, but I don't think you heard the last part, which is whatever. So I guess I don't know how I'm gonna get him back. That's a problem. I guess I'm gonna wave him down. Okay, we'll figure it out. The question is based on the theme of the season. The theme of the season is rewrite the stars. I'm looking for the person that I feel like did that the best. Jay, the question is this. St. Caleb's getting the same question. The question is this. I want 5 things you did this game that are different than what you did your previous season. I will say, for me personally, I can't speak for the jury, for me personally, answering it as I won a comp that I didn't win last time, for me personally, is a cop-out, but you can answer that if you'd like, if you can't think of anything else. That's just me personally. Like if you were to answer, I won a comp I didn't win last time, for me personally, I would consider that a cop-out, but you can still answer that if you can't think of anything else. Go. If you see her.
Okay. You broke up okay. For me, but I think I got it. My first point is actually going to be the complete opposite. I threw comps. Season 2, I was all about winning any comp I could. This season, I was like, I want to be more picky. My second point is my alliance. I had a lot more alliances. I did not just have one person and then done. I had multiple alliances. My third thing that I did different was I feel like I played a stronger social game, kind of in connection with the second one, is like I didn't have the us versus them mentality. I had a more of a we are a house. I need to understand that I need to work with different people at different points. Not week 4. The fourth thing I would say I did differently was this is nothing really game related, but I just took the time to have an absolute blast. Season 2 was not the most fun time for me. So this time I wanted to take the time to have fun with the people I was playing with, regardless of the game going on around it. And the last thing I would say I did different is that I took my feelings about each person out of the game, whereas the season 2, I came into the game with notions about people and let that dictate how I went moving forward. This time, because I knew so many people, I had to take out all the good and bad things I felt about people and kind of go brand new.
Okay, thank you. Caleb, can you see my thumbs? Is he with us?
I have no idea. Okay, there we
Okay,
go.
yeah, you're good, Caleb. Yeah.
Just a time marker so you know you're at about 4 minutes left, so you got about 3 minutes for me.
Okay.
Perfect.
Okay. So am I good now?
Yeah. So I'm gonna ask you the same
Okay.
question I asked Jay.
Okay.
So I'm gonna preface everything and then I'll tell you to go because there's some prefaces I need to make. Okay. I'm looking for the theme of the season is rewrite the stars. Personally, I think the winner should be someone that I think played as differently as they did the first time. That's kind of what I want to look for since the theme of the season is rewrite the stars. I want you to list 5 things you did this season that you didn't do last season. I will also say that if you answer, for example, if you answer, I won a comp I didn't win last season, for me personally, that's a cop out. That's not what I'm looking for. You can still answer that if you can't think of anything. Of course, answering this as eloquently and as fast as possible is ideal. But, you know, I think I prefaced everything equally. I can't think of anything else I didn't preface. Go.
Okay. The first thing is I definitely put my heart more weight into this. When I first played, I 100% was carried. I missed 85% of the competitions that season. I wasn't able to be a part of the season. So this time around, I wanted it to be more of a presence in the game. 2 is I think that I was more adaptable this time around. Like Jay mentioned when he played, like in his opening speech, that he only worked with 1 or 2 people. Well, I basically had Paige and Brian. Those were the 2 people that I worked with the closest. And this time around, I was willing to work with anyone, even if they came against me. Connor, you came against me, and I looked that aside and said, we need to take each other because we don't have a shot against most people this cast. The third thing that I said I would probably think I did different this time around is that towards the end, I took more of a proactive role rather than taking the back seat. I would say early on, both seasons I played, I kind of laid low and floated, and that's perfectly fine. But I think mid-game is when I really proactively took advantage of my own game and took my own game in my own hands instead of relying on other people to carry me my way to the final 4-3 onwards. I have one. Okay. Fourth thing is that I think I went on way more game calls and strategized more things. Wait, what is it, Connor?
Oh, I was just muting. You're good.
Oh, okay. That I definitely was part of way more alliances this time around. I was in, let's see, obviously the Strats faction with Jay. I was in the 4-person group with me, Rachel, Justin. The 3-person with me and Justin. I had a 3 thing with Billy and Madison. I had you and Nolan as another alliance. So I was always strategically involved this season. And number 5, I would say was that I think I was more able to be myself on personal calls with people. I was genuine. I was comfortable. And I think that at the end of the day, even though I did have a fake persona, every call that I had with people on a one-on-one level was genuine. And I want to let that clear that I was a genuine person and I cared about everyone. And I do think, like Jay said, that I think that instead of ignoring the people, I did talk to them on their way out because I didn't want anyone to ever feel excluded because I felt that way in my real life before. Thanks.
I think you both answered that very, very well. I think you both did very well. I think you're both deserving of the title. I think you both really did well. Thank you. And that's really all I have. Thank you, Michael, for hosting.
Thank you, Connor. Madison's not quite here yet. So Paige and Madison can read. To the Zoom, please.
Good luck, Jay. This has been tough.
Brian Weber is here. Oh, wait, my glasses. Okay, Madison, your time will start when you start speaking. I will give you a 1-minute warning in the chat.
Thank you so much. Hello, good magical morning, besties. It's so good to see you again. Okay, I just want to preface, it's going to be super fast because honestly, like I'm impressed and not impressed in a lot of different ways. I love you both as human beings. Like I want you to know that like I'm coming at this from a jury perspective, and that's that. Like this is about the game. I love you both. Caleb, I can't wait to meet you, but I'm really not here for your game so far. The way that you've explained it. First of all, the fact that like the thing that's bothering me the most is you were, from my perspective, with the exception of the Billy vote, that was the only vote that you ever came to me specifically to be like, hey, this is what we should do. You never did that with Chloe. I was the one that brought that up. I was always the one that was bringing up the strategy to you, it felt like, at least with our conversations. And then you would agree or disagree and like, whatever. But it always also felt like you would agree until the very last minute and then be like, oh, sorry, I changed my mind. And then after you would make whatever move kind of ish, if you can call it that, you would then not take credit for it, even within the game. You tried to push off, like, I think the Billy vote onto Jay at one point. We all kind of talked about that, where you wouldn't take credit for it. And you literally gave that move to Jay within the game. So you can't really sit here and say, like, because I get it. Like, I've played a Big Brother game similar to yours and sat at the end and had to fight the battle that you're fighting. But the problem is you played dumb so long and tried to play it up so hard. And without taking credit for the moves within the game and taking responsibility for them in the game, you can't take credit for them at the end. If you're not willing to take the responsibility, you can't take the credit. And I think that's the problem that a lot of people are having with your game. So I'm just going to kind of open the floor to you, because I feel like you've been put in a bad spot. And I don't want you to have like the whole jury feel like they're coming after you. And I will give you the chance to kind of further explain that with that, if it gives you another perspective.
Okay.
And just kind of open the floor to you for a minute. Michael, if you could give me like a time guesstimate if I need to cut him off so that Jay has some time.
Right now we're at 2 minutes. So you have 5 minutes left.
Right. So it's pretty obvious that my thing was, as long as it wasn't me kind of vibe this whole season. So if I could push the blame on other people, I wouldn't be the target because of it. I didn't own up to a lot of moves because I didn't want to be the person that got targeted before it. Is it a safe game? Yes. Is it not a flashy game? Yes. But is it a final two game? Yes. I think I do agree with you saying sometimes I was very wish-washy with how I was voting, because I wanted to keep my cards close to me, because I never wanted anyone to know how exactly I was playing. But I do think that most people did know the fact that I was, like I said, the biggest floater this season. I was pretty much, unfortunately, only loyal to myself and I guess Jay to get to this point here. But I think personally that I own up to the moves and the fact that I was always a part of the vote. I mean, like I said, I did cast 14 of the 16 votes. So most people did come to me for at least what they thought I would do. I wanted like people to think that I was taking a backseat on a lot of the votes, because at that point, at the final six, we're just gonna go from Connor, you know, the final six. I wanted people to view me as a number 3, possibly for a lot of situations. And I think that was what carried me to get really far this season, because I always kind of had my bases covered, even if I wasn't the one that was making the flashy moves and taking all the responsibilities.
Okay. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. I will say, I think the reason that you were able to stay in the game so long is because everybody wanted you here so that they could beat you. And unfortunately, I think that's what's going to happen. Because you didn't take the responsibility, because you didn't really ever commit to the moves that you made. I think that's the position that you've put yourself in, at least as of right now. And I hope that you can come out of it. Jay, I am very impressed by your answers. I am very impressed by your game, and the fact that you were able to not only get me, but so many other people out of this game, whether you had the power or not, is very impressive. And yes, I came out being like, oh, fuck you, you know, you got me out of the game, but I like, that's not me, you know, like I'm never gonna be that bitch. So, I don't know what I want to ask you. I just like, you know, somebody did this to me once when I made it to a finale. So I'm just going to let you hype up your damn game, because I think you fucking deserve it. I'm just going to leave the floor open and you can just talk about it, because like you fucking killed it, honestly. And I didn't really see it until tonight. And I will say that I think you played a game that I couldn't read in the game, but that I understand outside of it. And that's what's so impressive to me. So go off, King.
My game, like I said, is I came into this game with, like Madison's played with me plenty of times. I never do this game. I never do a game where I take the lead. I'm normally that person who's like, I'm normally in Caleb's position where I'm like, yes, I don't, like, I didn't want to play a game that was as long as it wasn't me, like Caleb said. I wanted to play a game and prove to myself that I can do the moves that I always depended on other people to do. I wanted to show that to myself, regardless of if it gives me the win or not tonight. So that's why I can like smile through all of this tonight, because at the end of the day, I came into this game just more than anything. Like, I think a lot of people have heard me say, I always want to play a game and come into the next game as a bigger target. I want that validation of being able to say, yeah, the last game we were in, I kicked ass. And that's why this game, I was just like, I am so fucking tired of 7th, 2nd, 17th. I was like, I want to finally show that I can play a dominant game, not hide behind somebody, and get a fucking good placement while I'm at it. So that's why this game, I took the emotion that I normally have in every other game, and I was like, Jay, this time we are going to vibe. We're going to have fun. But game is game, personal is personal. If these people are your friend, they'll get over it. Like, so that's why this time I was able to play with just kind of no holds barred.
Period. All right. Michael just told me to give me my message to wrap it up. So thank you both very much. I do genuinely appreciate you, and be so proud of yourselves, both of you, for making it here, because like it is a feat. Obviously, we all tried to do it. None of us could. You did something that we couldn't do regardless, and you should be proud of that. Don't like down yourself because of whatever happens tonight, regardless of how it goes. And there's still a little bit of time left. You're not out of it yet. Kill it, y'all. I'm so proud of both of you. Thank you, production.
Thank
again.
you, Madison.
Mwah.
Okay, we are going to add our next juror.
You guys hear me still?
Yes.
My headphones, sorry. Hello, Josh. Once you start talking, your 7 minutes will start. I will give you a 1 minute warning in the chat.
Sounds good. Thank you. Can you hear me okay? Perfect. First of all, congratulations. Very well done. This was a tough season for sure, and you guys managed to somehow make it here over the rest of us. I'm gonna be honest that I have not been watching at all, because I literally just got home 5 minutes ago from being out with my friends and having a good time. So I apologize in advance if I asked something that's already been asked before, but you may have to repeat yourself for my sake. I think kind of for me, what I really want to know, what's going to make my decision is more sort of geared towards, I guess, our personal relationships or our game relationships. Just sort of how we interacted in the game. That's sort of what I really have to go on at this point. Caleb, from you, I want to know, because a lot of what our relationship in this game came down to was the fact that we were the last two people to win a competition in this season. And you came to me and you complained a lot about how frustrated you were that you couldn't win a competition, as was I. And I was genuinely frustrated because I put 100% of my effort into every competition that I played. And so from what I want to know from you is sort of to verify the fact that, like, did you throw competitions this season? Were you genuinely struggling to win competitions, or did you purposefully throw competitions so that your threat level would be diminished and you just were playing up to me this fact that you couldn't win a competition to save your life, when in fact you maybe could have won a competition and made a move in this game instead of the game that you actually played?
Okay. To answer your question, I did throw most of the competitions this season. I definitely played it up to just still like diminish my threat level. Like I said, though, like I wanted you to be geared towards maybe wanting to take me farther. If you're like, well, maybe I can beat Caleb in a competition at the final three. So I did that just to play it up to you. Did I throw every competition? Well, some of them I was just genuinely bad at, but for the most part, like even in the safety deals, I made 3 safety deals in competitions, because even though I was probably good with that HOH, I didn't want to be the one getting the blood on my personal hands for doing it. So that would be probably the most genuine answer I could give you.
Okay. I totally respect it as a strategy. I really do. I think if you can get yourself into a position where you can make safety deals with people every week, like that's a legitimate strategy. I'm not, mad at you for playing that. What I am frustrated about is the fact that you weren't sort of upfront with me about it more, because I was genuinely like trying to be honest with you. And like, I felt like for me, I build relationships based off of connections, and like to find out that connection that we sort of were building was not built on truth does frustrate me a little bit. So I appreciate the honesty though in the answer. So I understand. I respect the strategy 100%. Yeah, I, I don't know. Jay, I guess what I want to know from you is like, I guess it comes again to the authenticity, the genuineness behind our game relationship. Like, obviously, we formed the Jantasy very, very early on. It was on the night one call, and obviously, I was the first one to break that relationship. I do take full credit for that. Like, I broke my word with you first. But I guess I just want to know, like, what else did you have going on? Like, what were the other deals that you had? What were the other alliances that you had? Like, where does the Jantasy rank in your priority list throughout this game?
Yeah, this was something I kind of touched on in a few answers. I had quite a few alliances, especially in the jury phase. I had the Stratisfaction Guaranteed with Connor. I also had the 4-person chat with Rachel, myself, Justin, and Caleb. Did I say Connor? I meant Caleb whenever I said Stratisfaction Guaranteed. I also had a final 2 with Connor. I also had the Discriminators Alliance with Connor and Chloe. I also had a final 2 with Madison. So I definitely had a lot of alliances and like things that were like more unspoken alliances. Like we didn't say we would say we're working for, but we wouldn't like necessarily call it an alliance. The Jantasy was something that like the problem was especially at the beginning of the jury is I felt like every time we talked about the vote, we always seemed to be on different sides of the vote. Mm-hmm. And I didn't want you to go home like right away or whatever. Like you weren't somebody I was immediately targeting. My whole thing with you was like, since I felt like we kind of both wanted to go in a different direction in the game, I felt like I couldn't trust you game-wise with as much information as I did with maybe like Connor, Caleb, so on and so forth.
For sure. I get that. I definitely think like, just sort of from where I'm sitting, like I tried to make as much effort with you, even though I knew a lot of the times we were voting oppositely, and I still sort of counted on that relationship as like a really strong like relationship. And honestly, until the hot potatoes came along, it probably was my end game goal.
Well, I will say, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Well, I will say up until like the final 6 situation, whenever me and Caleb were talking, I was saying after Connor, I wanted to take you to final 3 because I thought I had a better shot at the challenges with you versus like Justin. So like you were somebody that even though up until that point, up until you said specifically, I remember you saying like I had to keep my cards to my vest. And when you nominated me and I asked you like, so does this mean I'm the next person out you want? That to me, I was like, okay, I gotta kind of wash my hands clean of this because like
I do get that, because once I put you on the block, I was fighting hard to get you out that week, and it's really because of Justin that you're still here. So
I know it was Justin. Yeah,
I appreciate the answers. I appreciate the honesty. My heartfelt congratulations to both of you. Outside of this game, I love you both to pieces. This season was amazing, and I'm so glad that I got to go to the Final Four with both of y'all, and I wish you generally the best of luck. So I guess we'll have to see what Justin says coming up.
Thank you, Josh.
Are you kicking me, or do I have to leave?
You have to leave because you can't join back later if I kick you. Okay, and here's our final jury. Hello, Sebastian. Welcome back. So your 7 minutes will start when you start talking. I'll give you a 1 minute warning in the chat.
Perfect. So long time no see. Oh my God. I just want to first off say, like, it's been a pleasure working with you guys since week 1. Like, I genuinely loved every single moment of it. And I'm so grateful that I came into this game barely knowing anything about y'all. And y'all came out to be 2 of my closest allies in this game. Clearly, it wasn't kind of respected, but I get it. I still made it to the top 3, and I'm proud of myself for it. I do have a few questions, and I'm a little confused by some of the answers, but I feel like if I get a clarification, it can make it easier for me. First off, Caleb, you should 100% feel proud of the game you played. You had me kind of convinced with the dumb strategy, and I kind of lived for the private snap story. That was iconic. I'll give you that. I do have 2 questions. So, you said in your opening speech somewhere about Final Six, you convinced me to keep loyal to like our side or something like that. It's been like a little bit since like that.
I'm in a speech right now. 1 second. I'm talking to my mom. Yeah.
Yeah, I get it. So I just want to know, like, how did you exactly like convince me to want to be loyal to y'all?
Okay. Gotcha. For sure. And I think, like, obviously you were both loyal to both groups, obviously. But what it came down to was I came to you and I wanted you to believe that my relationship with you was stronger than when it was with Jay. And that that Madison and Josh were untouchables final 2 no matter what, and that you were the third wheel in that situation. So by doing that, I was able to make you, even though, like I said, you were loyal to both sides and you ultimately made your own decision. But it definitely influenced you into wanting to work with me and Justin more, or me and Jay more, and then ultimately maybe potentially go to the final 2 with me had you won the final HOH.
Okay, I do understand that. I was a little confused because I was like, I don't remember it being that way, because like I was always going to be loyal to you and Jay ever since week 1. Like literally that's where my like loyalties were, like the whole time. I was never gonna like switch on that. I always knew I was gonna take Madison and Josh out of 5 or 4 or even earlier. So like I was just a little like, no, I was gonna be loyal to them. I don't know. Like I didn't think about changing, but I just wanted to know. And then there was another thing. Fuck. I do want to applaud you for your social game. I think that was really cool. You played that really well. I do think you shouldn't have been afraid to get blood on your hands, because it seems to me that you kind of like said you did a lot of things, but it just genuinely doesn't feel like you did. And that's what sucks, because like I want to believe that you did, but I just don't see it. I feel even without power, you didn't do much, which sucks. But that's just what I saw. I do believe if this was 1984's Next Top Porn Star, you would have won.
Not that.
But I kind of want you, if there's a way, like, oh, you said something on Final 5. Oh, you convinced me to get out Madison. I want to know how you did that.
Okay, so the nominations were Madison and Josh, right? So, you know that like I came up to you and I said, listen, even though like you guys were close working together, I said Madison 2 weeks prior was throwing both you and Josh under the bus. So I relayed that information to you. That way you were like disloyal to her, and I wanted her out because I thought she was the best player in the season up until that point. And I think with that information that you were given, it gave you more an incentive to take Madison out instead of Josh, even though I had a better relationship with Madison than I did Josh in terms of like game level. Me and Josh have a good personal relationship, but on a game level, I worked closely more with Madison than I did with Josh. So by relaying that information that I was given from Madison, I went to you and given you the reason to want to turn against that alliance, even though, like you said, you were loyal to us. I didn't know that in the game, obviously. So I think it gives you more of incentive, even though, like, even if that was the case, Jay would have broke the tie, but it really solidified that mine and your relationship was strong.
Okay. I do agree. You did have me fooled. You did. I really thought I was your final 2, so I will applaud you for manipulating me that way. I will give you that. definitely think you did that. Jay, I feel like you already answered like everything I wanted to ask in a way. I think game-wise, well-rounded out of the both of you, I think you did play better. I think you both kind of went at it the same way. You didn't want to get blood on your hands. I see a lot of similarities in your game.
Yeah.
But one thing I want to ask, this is actually for both. When Rachel asked, who did you outlast? Were you both 100% genuine with those answers? Do you really think you outlasted every single player in this game just because you made it to the final two?
Outlast or outplay?
Oh, whatever. Outplay, sorry. Wow, Survivor. Outplay everyone in the final two? Oh my God, no. Do you think you outlasted everyone because you made it to the final two only, or because you genuinely believe you played a better game with them? And if there was any juror right now that you believe played better than you, can you mention who they were?
I do not believe that any juror. I do not believe that any juror played better than me. I will say I was genuine with that. Did me making it to the final two kind of influence that a little bit? Yes. But I also think that I was one of the people who was able to be both aggressive and not aggressive at different points of this game and not get targeted right then and there. I was able to stay off the block for so long, and I didn't hide it. I would go to people saying, like, yeah, you shouldn't nominate me because I haven't been nominated, because if I touch that block, I'm out. So, like, I feel like I have a very unconventional strategy, and I think in this game with this cast, yes, I feel confident enough in myself and in my game that I do feel like I outplayed the jury.
Okay. So Michael said he'll also give Caleb a chance to respond. So thank you, Michael. I want to hear what you said.
I know, actually, like, I disagree with Wade. Like Jay said that answer. My personal thing is, if you make final two, you're a deserving final two finalist. Like I mentioned with earlier, I think Madison played the best game up until the final five, but unfortunately, it's not the best game if you get evicted. But so in that sense, I think that Madison, outplayed. And I also do think you had a winning game against me or Jay as well. But same thing with, like, at the end of the day, it's like who makes the final two, and sometimes competition wins, unfortunately, are what decides who wins the game. And yeah.
Okay. Thank you guys so much. Thank you, Michael, for having me. Good luck to the both of you. Power trace, baby.
We'll see you in a little bit. Yeah, leave for me, and then you join back in a minute.
I don't want to leave, but I'm gonna.
Then I'll just kick you, and then you can't come to reunion.
Disrespect.
Okay. So that is all the jurors we have. But you each get 2 minutes to give your closing statements. As Jay went first before, Caleb, you will go first this time. Your 2 minutes when you start talking, and I will give you a 30-second warning when it is time.
All right. Hi, jury. So I just want to just be like I said, be the most genuine I could be in this last 2 minutes and see if it can swing at least one vote my way. I think that a lot of the big reason I made it as far as I did was just because of my social game and how I was able to connect to people emotionally. I'm naturally a pretty empathetic person. I do feel like I was genuine on a personal level. A lot of people, I do think I was fake in a lot of game related situations, because I basically, like I said, it was anyone but me pretty much to get to the final two. Like I said, I casted 14 out of the 16 votes and voted out every single person on this jury with the exception of Josh. I think I played a very low key, very up until like the final 7. And that's when I really, really stepped up my game at the end. And I won the competitions I needed to get to the end. I made the deals I had to make to get to the end. And I started playing aggressive towards the end, because if I would have played like aggressive early on, I do genuinely think that I would have been sitting either on the early jury house or the pre-jury. I would have went home against Peyton during the double eviction had I had shown my aggressive game player side. I think I'm a deserving winner. because like I said, that I played pretty much like I'm gonna say the perfect floater game, but I don't think I played the perfect game by any means, but I do think I played a very good game to get to this point. I think I perfected the floater strategy in the aspect that I was pretty much working with everyone, but never really got in trouble. And like you said, most people, you said you all wanted to take me to the final two because you thought you could beat me. And I think that in itself, I think is a good enough reason. If literally 7 people at the final two all want to take me to the final two, that kind of shows, even though like it reflects my social game, but it was also reflects of how good I was deflecting my threat level. And then when it was too late, I won the competitions and took out the people I needed to get to the final two. And that's why I think that I am a good contender to win the season, and that I should have been evicted a long time ago, but I'm still standing even after everything.
Okay, thank you, Caleb. Jay, your 2 minutes will start when you start talking. I'll give you a 30-second warning in the chat.
Okay. So a winner tends to be one of 2 people that people think of when the season gets brought up in the future. They tend to think of player of the season and the winner. I don't know if Michael does like both. Could be the same person. I don't know. It could be one person. But I do think I would be a very good representer for the season. Caleb says that he like perfected the floater strategy. I think if you look at the statistics, the fact that I was unnominated and never got a vote against me, I would say I probably played the better floater strategy up until a certain point, and then played a more aggressive game and still got to the same seats that he did. I think that I have proven to be a player who is ready to fight, claw, lie, whatever I have to do to get to these seats, and I will own every ounce of it. I will sit here and say I did not play the most honest game this time. I saw what playing a 100% honest game did to me in season 2. I did not want to repeat that. When they say rewrite the stars, I wanted different stars. I didn't want to rewrite the same fucking stars. So I think that I would be a good winner for the season, and somebody who you would want people to think of when it comes to the season, because of the fact that I do genuinely think I played a great game, and a game that was definitely a lot different than the first time I played.
Thank you both. I'm going to send the Zoom link back to the jurors, and they will rejoin for the voting period. They are going to join on mute, so they are not going to be allowed to talk. And then they will each get to give one brief statement before they cast their vote.
Well, do you mind if I went to the bathroom?
Yeah, if you guys want to take a quick bathroom break or something, you are welcome to do that. We'll wait for you guys. So if you guys could also mute for me, we'll do that. Just a reminder, jurors, please mute for me as you come in. I'm going to turn the waiting room off right now. I apologize if I have background noise. My headphones died, so.
Then don't have background noise. So.
Sir, I said to mute. I said I'm sorry, but you will not be casting a vote tonight. Make sure you guys mute upon arrival. Let's see if Billy's hopping on. I don't think we'll get Chloe. A minute or so, and then we'll get started. Okay. We are going to get started with the voting period. So jurors, remember, you are voting for the person you want to win this season, the person that will represent 1984 Rewrite the Stars. We are going to go in eviction order. When I call your name, you can unmute and say one brief statement about about your vote or whatever you want to say. Please do not say out loud who you are voting for. And then please message your vote to your chat. If you are here, regardless, please just send your vote again if you've already sent it, just so I make sure I have the correct vote. Okay, Rachel, you are up first.
Much to think about after tonight. I do love you both. I will have to vote for the person that has an A in their first name. So do with that with what you will. Good luck. Love y'all.
Rachel, you made it too obvious that you're voting. Okay, next up is Sebastian.
Hello, first of all, congrats again, Jay and Caleb. I am going to vote for the person that I just felt made a bigger effort in my game personally to benefit me, and then at the end of the day, played a more stronger, open game. So take that which you will. I love you both. You're amazing. Mwah.
Thank you, Sebastian. Next up is Billy. He's not on the stream, so I will go grab his vote. Okay, thank you both. Nolan, you are next.
If you know. Here we go. Good luck. Love you both.
Thank you, Nolan. Next up is Chloe. I will go get her vote. And Madison, you are next.
I again love you both so much. I could not be prouder of both of you. I am so glad that we got to play this game together and just like spend time together and everything. And I got to get to know both of you so much better throughout this. And I am so proudly casting my vote for who I think played just the best, well-rounded game and truly rewrote the stars.
Thank you, Madison. I skipped Connor. So Connor, you can give us you can go next.
You know you played a forgettable game when even the host forgets about you. Damn, Michael.
I don't know how that happened. I genuinely don't know how that happened.
I want to say that my vote is for the person that I feel like did the most to fit the theme and rewrite their stars.
Josh, you are next.
This is so exciting. I love you both outside this game. Jay, we've known each other for what seems like forever now. And Caleb, we only just met near the start of the season, but I love you both equally. I think you both played really solid games. No matter what the vote count is, I think you both played really respectable games. And I just have to cast my vote based on my gut feeling and who I think will represent this season the best. That doesn't mean that the runner-up doesn't represent the season, because you both did amazing. Michael, you look absolutely ravishing tonight.
Thank you, Josh. And Justin, you are last.
I'm always last in something. Anyway, so I love you both. I think it's very obvious how I clearly feel about you both. This vote, I feel, has been kind of easy for me since maybe around Final Four. I kind of knew I wanted this person to win if it wasn't me. I love you both so much. And the person I will be voting to wiener is
Give me just a moment. Please stay muted for me. Okay, I have the votes. We are looking for a winner. So, Caleb, Jay, this is it. You guys have played all season for these votes right here. It takes 5 votes to win. Here we go. Rachel has voted for Caleb. Sebastian has voted for Jay. 1 vote Caleb, 1 vote Jay. Billy has voted for Jay. 2 votes Jay, 1 vote Caleb. Nolan has voted for Jay. 3 votes Jay, 1 vote Caleb. Chloe has voted for Caleb. That's 2 votes Caleb, 3 votes Jay. Connor has voted for Jay. 4 votes Jay, 2 votes Caleb. Madison has voted for Jay. Congratulations, Jay. You are the winner of 1984 Rewrite the Stars. For the record, Josh voted for Jay and Justin voted for Jay. So congratulations, Jay. You have won 7-2. So
Congrats, Jay. You deserve it.
Caleb.
Also, but
Jay, if you have anything to say, you can do so.
thank y'all so much. Like I said, I enjoyed playing with all of you, even you nasty bitches that didn't vote me. Thank y'all
Thank you,
much.
Rachel and Chloe. I really thought I was losing unanimously, so I'm glad I didn't get unanimous like the other Caleb.
Okay, so with that, I'm going to cut the stream for now. I'm going to send the link to the pre-jurors, and we will do some awards and a little bit of reunion. So that's all I have.